Welcome to this Nutmeg Sports update on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams with Tim Murphy. We are with you at Ridgefield High School. And just down the road from Ridgefield, of course, is Wilton, one of the big rivalries in the FCAC. And Murph, Wilton had themselves a little bit of, let's say, off-the-field news that involves girls soccer. Tell us what happened.
Right. Well, head coach Freya Coombe, who was in her first year with the program, and right from the start, there were some issues with the captains. They were voted before she took over. They did a revote, and it kind of went downhill from there. One girl quit the team during the early part of the season, and two others left right before the state tournament. Team did well, made it to the state quarterfinals. Coach got a favorable review, thinking she was coming back, and something changed, and she is now resigned, if you believe that, or other people have told me that, she was forced to resign.
Has a lot of layers to it. I know that the Wilton Bulletin received a letter from a former player as well, and the letter was pretty blunt.
Right, the letter was critical of the administration, and they've had 5 coaches now in 6 years, but that player also didn't play with this coach who was just there for 1 year, so that, her perspective on that is, we don't know. But obviously it's been a program with a lot of turnover, trying to please all the parents. Part of it is that these coaches are club guys and different parents, and their kids play with different clubs, and that gets factored into the mix. Where
is the problem then in all of this? What's going on? Why are we seeing so many coaches in so many different years?
Well, I think it's just a few of them, pretty much had to go. They did some things that were definitely termination worthy. But I think again, it's just this system of all these club coaches. Probably the best thing might be to hire someone with no ties to any area club or premier team. Then you'd be getting someone who doesn't know the players, and there's not going to be any charges of favoritism.
And it seemed like Freya Coombe was that person to an extent, didn't have that connection, and yet it just seemed like no one was happy that there was almost an assistant coach in waiting, and again, a lot of layers to this story.
Right, and Freya is involved with Everton CT.
True.
So she does have a stake in that. But I think it just was something that probably could have been taken care of earlier, but kind of blossomed, and no one really saw it get into this level.
Is this another case of parents that are hyper involved? Where would blame fall?
I think it can go around in this case. I think it's the parents, the coach Freya. I think maybe her communication style could have been a little better. I know that's one of the things she was asked to improve on at her interview rating. The administration probably could have done a better, more proactive job. It's just a series of events that turned into the perfect storm.
But if we're going to take this as an on-the-field thing, just looking at on the field for a moment, this is a team that came out of the blocks and struggled, as we know, and yet had a really good season. You have to look at that season as being a success, especially when you consider the turmoil of players leaving.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. The team won in 5, but they lost lots of players, so that wasn't unexpected. They played a lot of tough teams early, turned it around, made it to the FCI quarterfinals, only lost to Ridgefield, the eventual champ, 1-0. 2 other girls quit. They then go on to make it to the state quarterfinals, lost 1-0 to New Canaan. So, I would think by most metrics it was a successful season on the field. A lot of good young players who got playing time. So it's kind of shocking in a way that it seemed like things were heading in the right direction.
I saw the Wilton athletic director the other day, and we just kind of smiled at each other. But, he's obviously a little bit under fire now just based on the letter that came out and, some of the chatter. That's not a favorable position to be in either.
No, I think, he's definitely in a tough spot trying to placate all the parties involved. And, they have a committee formed to look for a new coach. And, hopefully they'll get someone who's maybe a little bit of an outside, actually has a background in soccer, but maybe not be from this area.
So how does Wilton soccer, and I'll talk about it in terms of a community, how does that community get reunited? Because right now it's very divisive. Clearly it's divided.
Right. Some of it will be just natural from people graduating, the people who are parents or kids who are involved that graduate, so that, they'll be gone. So that will probably clear out some of that. But it's a shame. It's a program with such a great history. You've got Christine Lilly and 11 state titles, more than any other team in Connecticut. So it's really a storied program. It's a shame to see it having this constant turnover.
Going back onto the field then, How does it look going into next year? Now, I recognize we're recording this in April, and we've got months to go. Players can change towns and things like that. Where does it go from here?
Well, I think, if everybody comes back, certainly they had a lot of younger players, even freshmen, playing key roles last year. So, I think the future looks pretty good for the program as long as they can kind of heal this division.
Sounds like they need a coach to kind of unite them, and then their captains need to really step up, and maybe the parents need to take a step back as well. Is that all fair to say?
I think that's fine. I think you maybe want to come up with a system, almost a model for electing captains. After this, schools might want to just say, "Here's how we're going to do it." And do you let the coach do it? Do you have to vote? It's just to get rid of any kind of controversy behind that.
I think to sum up, it almost seems like, and I don't mean to sound trite when I say this, but it's almost like everybody needs to step back, look inside themselves, and then go from there.
Right. I think people should step back and, it's high school sports, which is serious, but ultimately not that serious. And, just got to get a little perspective on this.
Well, Murph, I appreciate you coming out and standing here and talking with us about it. A great column by you, of course, as always, but it's just a story that you don't want to see. We want high school sports to be fun and competitive and wins and losses, but fun. And this was not fun.
No, it's going to keep happening. All it takes is a faction of parents who are not happy, and they press the issue.
Yeah, well, again, Murph, thanks. Tim Murphy joining us here on this special version of Nutmeg Sports, a Nutmeg Sports update. We're at Ridgefield High School talking, of course, about what happened with the Wilton High School girls soccer program. We thank you for watching. I'm Rob Adams on the HAN Network.